numbers, and it has to turn. And to be honest, his record on the European Tour for a player of his calibre, who's played so well for so long, it's not great.
140.
You're trying to tell me there's another curse of Ross Smith coming around? I'm not talking about the 9-darter from Gibraltar from years ago. This is a different curse. Play well and still lose.
Yeah, not quite sure what he did in the previous life, but whatever it wasn't good.
Well, as for Wattimena yesterday, he did something that has only happened 3 times in darts history before. He denied Daryl Gurney a leg in a European Tour match, and that performance yesterday was superb. Averaged over 98, doubles were excellent. A little bit more of that today, and he might cause Ross Smith some problems.
Yeah, well, Jermaine has done a little bit of work technically, and we mentioned this at the UK Open, but it's been for a little while now. He's slowed things down a touch, but it's not just slowing down the action. He talks about having more control over the dart. And you can see in his setup, there's almost like these little checkpoints for the arm. There's like about 3 of them.
89.
Where he has set position 1, 2, 3, and then lets it go. And he feels that that is giving him more control about how the darts are leaving their hand, how they're travelling to the board, and ultimately where they're landing.
Think about a golf swing and how you can liken that to a darts throw. I will talk about that in the next leg, which is coming up right now, thanks to that wonderful 15-dart start from Jermaine. The set positions in golf are as such: at stance with the golf club extended to the ball. The next one is when you draw the club back and you're on plane with the golf ball with the club in the air. Then there's another one, the top of the backswing, and then when you're finished. With darts, what Jermaine is trying to accomplish here is a 1-2-3 punch. So it's extend for 1, back for 2, extend again for 3. Stick to that rhythm, but make sure the number 2, which is the drawback, if that's too quick, the timing goes completely to pot. What he's working on is making sure that everything is more 59. Rhythmic.
Yeah, and you can see similar. It's not quite as obvious in Ross Smith, although it's still pretty obvious. You can see there's that first set position, and then it's the pull back and release. And he can get a little bit staccato sometimes, but when he really gets going, and he hasn't got going at all in this match, he is superb. At the minute, it's turning into a nice little birthday present for Jermaine Wattimena, who turns 36 today.
Well, happy birthday, Jermaine. And it will be Peter Wright's birthday tomorrow. And speaking of him briefly yesterday, you got any birthday plans, Pete? And he just said, I'm going to pick up a trophy on my birthday. And it's not the first time he's predicted such a thing.
140.
Smith with a ton 40. It's him down to a 1 treble finish, and Jermaine is nowhere near.
116.
This is his kind of finish, because he loves double 18. Not going to get a look at it this time. 60. Is it just me, or has he got new points in? They're very, very, very shiny. Did he play with gold points last weekend?
I could not tell.
100. Ross, you require 56.
Oh, with him, the way he hits 180s, I wouldn't change a thing. However, it is tops. Can't ask for a better guide than that.
Game from the second leg. Ross Smith, Jermaine to third first.
After last week's UK Open, another game that he played well and lost.
85.
I think sometimes the best thing is just to get back on the horse. Come to Belgium, start of the European Tour season as a seed after a successful 2023, winning multiple titles. Get back to it. Don't stay at home and stew for too long.
58.
Well, Jermaine's been doing similar, to be fair, in recent tournaments. I'd just give you some of his losing averages. The UK Open, he lost out in his opening game to Martin Lukeman despite averaging more than 97.5. In the Players' Championships, he averaged 98, lost out to Johnny Clayton in his board final. There have been some dodgier performances in there, but they've been losing averages in the high 90s for Jermaine, and it's not a rarity. He is consistently playing better than he was, say, a year or two ago. It has been a rebuilding phase of his career.
Well, interestingly, I did look at some of the social media interaction yesterday after that Daryl Gurney game with Jermaine, and people
54.
were saying Daryl averaged over 91 and didn't get a dart at a double. And some people insinuated that that was unfair or cruel. No. Welcome to world class darts. It's as simple as that. If you average 91 and your opponent averages high 90s and gets more shots than you, then expect to lose.
Well, look, if you're averaging 91 and you don't get a dart at double, that's a 91 scoring average. That's all you're doing.
Exactly.
60.
You know, it isn't that great. If you're averaging 91, you've had loads of darts at double, then it's a different matter.
Just do what Luke Littler did. Average 101
93.
and miss 17 darts at double and still win.
Well, it's a nice friendly game at the minute where nobody's even threatening to break. But Ross Smith,
95.
giving him the big up
Remaining
here,
required
quite
44.
deservedly, he's having a mare in the scoring phase.
Gains on the
2-1
third
to
leg.
Wattimena, and you're absolutely right. You look at some of the numbers for Smith in this
game.
game, and realistically, I've seen him average this with 2 darts.
Ooh, quite.
100.
Well, let's see. Look, it's not started well, and this will be a test. Ross Smith knows what it's like to go up there and average 98 from start to finish. Admittedly, he hasn't won as many games as he perhaps should have with that.
140.
Let's see if he can dig himself out of this hole. It's not a good start to the game. He knows that he needs to find some extra gears, and he's got to find them quickly.
I know what he's doing. He's trying to lure
96.
Jermaine into a false sense of security.
Yeah, I'm fed up of losing with 98 average. I'm going to see if I can win with a 75.
58.
Let's not forget as well, Ross is playing a local game today, according to his social media feeds, because getting from where he lives to here is a little bit easier than going to some other places domestically.
98.
Yeah, anything sort of Belgium, the Netherlands. It's all right for Ross, based down in Kent.
117.
Just a big number, so it doesn't get down to a finish. Ross Smith still has the advantage in this leg, but he cannot find that treble 20 at all.
Yeah, his first start has been horrifying
95.
in this game so far away from what he's used to. But I was perplexed there, Dan. 207, someone who's got this
100. Rossi
really
require
good
112.
likelihood of grouping 3 darts together. Why wouldn't he go for the 171 down in the 19th to leave 36, which he also loves?
Yeah, it's an option, but how about this? He's not really making use of the marker darts. I know he did for the tops finish,
100.
and he does
Jermaine
eventually
require 86.
with the final dart there, but Jermaine's got a chance on the ball. And
James
pins it.
on the
Jermaine
fourth leg.
Wattimena with the first breaker throw in this game.
Wattimena.
Ross looks like how everybody feels watching this
Fifth
game.
leg, Jermaine to
A little
focus.
puzzled.
Game on.
Well, the finishing's been good in this game for the pair of them, but the scoring has left something to be desired. But that could change.
108.
Jermaine Wattimena does have a good record against Ross Smith as it happens. He's won 4 for the 3 that he's lost. Although their only meeting on the Euro Tour was
81.
6-0 to Ross Smith in Jermaine's home country last year.
How much do you think Jermaine remembers that? Because when you lose in a home-style tournament to 0, that doesn't sit well, I can imagine.
No, I very much doubt it does. Ross continues to be everywhere but the treble
60.
20. We're into the 5th leg here, and not much has changed for Ross Smith in the scoring
65.
phase. And his biggest weapon is not there today, and I'm not sure how he's going to win this game without it.
At which point does he start switching to the 19s?
I don't think it's the worst idea in the world, even if it's just for a few visits. One in there.
Even hitting that one, he had to move because it was dangling.
140.
That's only his second 140 of the
Jermaine
game.
require 160.
Ooh, hang about. Double top. Oh, it's beautiful.
Fifth leg.
Jermaine Wattimena is racing through this now. He's enjoying himself. The last 3 legs on the spin, 18 darter, 15 darter, 12 darter. He's getting better.
So far this weekend, Wattimena's had 3 ton-plus checkouts. He had a couple yesterday against Gurney of 100 and 145, but this weekend so far he's 10-1 up.
Well, he's 10-1 up, and he has only allowed his opponent darts at double in 1 of the 11 legs that he's played. And look, he was very good against Darryl Gurney, very efficient stuff. There have been times in this game where he hasn't been particularly good, just Ross Smith has been worse. And I haven't said that for a long while.
If Ross starts to get things together now, he's going to feel like Ryan Searle yesterday, turning up at the airport a bit late.
And missed his flight, Ryan Searle, to get the next one.
Good job there was a next one.
Yeah, well, he's basically doing the same journey as Gary Anderson. Oh, welcome, Ross Smith. There we go.
I'm not even sure he knew what to think about that 180.
The thing is, if that's back now, if Ross Smith starts banging in the 180s, Jermaine is not safe, even at 4-1-0.
I'd have to agree. It's a very safe 20, and considering where Jermaine is at the minute, that's okay. Plot your way to 4-2 down and then mount an assault on the Wattimena throw next time out. It's a leg that if you can win it, you get within 1, and you stop Wattimena from getting within 1 of the victory. Huge leg coming up, because you would expect Ross to take this. He was brilliant on this last week in the UK Open. Just on the outside with the marker, getting the shot with dart 2. Things are starting to click, but will they remain clicky?
134.
Beat Darryl Gurney himself at the UK Open, Ross Smith, before losing out to Johnny Clayton. Both those games going 10-8.
So what you're seeing is this game is all about Darryl Gurney not feeling very good about his last couple of weeks. Even when Ross has somewhat found a 60 in this leg, it falls to the floor because it was
96.
Just a little bit precarious in the bottom left corner, as you can see here.
Well, it's obviously taken a deflection off that first dart, but you mentioned him potentially having new points in. Maybe they do need a bit of roughing up. That's what he's about.
Amazing how many dart players on the tour at the minute are using kit. And I'm not insinuating that Ross is. They'll use kit that they think, oh, that's pretty, or it works for somebody else. It might work for me, even if they're playing well. Do you remember when, Simon Whitlock started with the old hexagonal points? Here's an example of how it can work. When Max Hopp went to them, he won a tournament. When Keegan Brown went to an all-in-one flight and stem system, he won a Pro Tour event. It doesn't mean, just because it works for them, that it's going to work for you. You need to have tried and tested stuff coming into games like this, making sure that everything is clicking right. Had we started the game a couple of legs ago, wouldn't be a problem. But Jermaine's done all the hard work already.
Well, double 16 is there. Jermaine Wattimena with a 14 darter, and it looks like Ross Smith may have left himself too much to do. He's paying the price for a woeful start to the match in terms of the scoring, and Jermaine Wattimena is not missing any chances at double, really. He's 5 out of 6 on the doubles.
Yeah, this is very special.
140.
Those 2 words that we used last week at the UK Open: visit perfect. You can't ask for more.
Yeah, if there's a chance, it's just going in this game.
60.
And I am surprised that Jermaine has managed to limit Ross Smith to so few chances. But then I'm surprised with how Ross Smith has scored. Jermaine Wattimena could be booking his spot in the last 16 of a European Tour event for the first time since 2019.
He's only made 1 quarter-final in Denmark in 2019, when he was seen as a much bigger threat in world darts. But is he getting back to where he was? He's only 87 away from winning this game 6-2.
Yeah, and the average has been climbing over the last few legs, which have been pretty sharp from Jermaine.
When you see a really good class opponent like Ross having a bad start, you've got to make the most of it. And Jermaine could well do that.
20 segment leaves the bullseye. And that is so close to the match, and he knows it.
Rossi requires 73.
But does he have to go back to 501 again? Does this game continue? Ross himself is not bad on doubles at 50% in the match.
53.
He needed the extra shot.
Jermaine, you require 25.
Jermaine Wattimena has not beaten a seeded player on the Euro Tour for 5 years.
17.
And he still hasn't. But you would think he's going to get more chances.
Not guaranteed. Ross's job from here on out is to stop Jermaine from getting more match shots. Can he do it with double 5?
10.
Symptomatic of how his Saturday
Jermaine,
has
you
been.
require 8.
It's a shocker for Smudger. And the machine gun makes him pay.